All right, we're going to share. Can you guys see the screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah.
All right. So me and everybody else. All right. Yo, what's good, everybody? So welcome back to another webinar. So hopefully, you guys see the webinar schedule now. It's going to be every Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Every single webinar is going to be recorded and posted to the online course. You could see it later on. So if you ever miss out on the webinar, you can go rewatch it in the online course. But anyways, pretty much what we're going to be doing, like always, is going to be a chart breakdown where I'm going to be breaking down the currency pairs that I trade. So GJ, gold, and silver primarily is what I'm going to be trading. So I do apologize. I don't know why my Wi-Fi has been acting up. If the webinar lives out, I'll rejoin it. So bear with me until my Wi-Fi actually gets fixed. But everybody can see my screen, just making sure. Hello?
Yo, your voice was lagging.
Breaking up?
Yeah, breaking up bad.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with my Wi-Fi. I have no idea.
$2 million house with $12 Wi-Fi.
Bro, it's just that my Wi-Fi provider in my area, there's only one Wi-Fi provider. So I have the best service with them and they're still garbage. So I'm gonna have them come out this week and see what they can do for me. But anyways, just making sure you guys can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right, cool. So
Yeah, we can see the screen.
yeah. All right, cool. So let's break down silver, gold, GJ, then we'll get into the Q&A, right? So when it came down to silver, silver's been a little bit interesting over the last couple of days. Initially, silver had pulled back to, let me really quick do this. Initially, silver had pulled back to this area of support where I was originally. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, but it's lagging a little bit.
Is that a little bit or a lot?
A little bit, like, little bit.
A little bit, that's weird. And I literally just reset my Wi-Fi before the webinar too. But all right, cool. Everybody can hear me now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty much what I was saying was that initially silver had pulled back down into this level of support where I was initially looking to take buys. So we had a big rejection a few days ago. This was Sunday session, I believe. We have another rejection on yesterday's trading session, but this trading session is going to be a little bit different, right? So at this point in time, right now, price is actually trading under support, which if you're looking to buy could be very dangerous. So all we simply have to do is look at what's going on the lower time frames. So pretty much what we can see here on the lower time frames is price is actually starting to reject this area of support. And notice how this area of support is now holding as previous or current resistance, right? Which is pretty dangerous in terms of looking for buys. So I'm actually going to be looking for silver to come back down into our previous weekly resistance, which is at around 23.30 thousand, as long as price can actually maintain forming these lower highs, and as long as price can actually maintain under resistance, we should see silver continue to actually trade lower just based off of how this market structure is forming. Notice a rejection of resistance here, 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 and now we actually have a sell signal right here at this 4-hour time frame. Now, the only way I'll start looking for buys again is if silver can actually break above this 4-hour structure here, pull back into that 4-hour structure, retest where I'll look for price to form support, and then look for silver to come back up into these highs over here. So this is the only way I'm going to be looking for silver buys as of right now. So as long as price maintains under this level of resistance, we should see silver come back down into this weekly level of structure where we have all of this previous structure here, where we then again could see silver actually go up from that point in time, because then it would just be a pullback on the daily time frame. So I'd want to see what silver does. It'd be a little bit aggressive to take a sell position right now on silver just because of where it's currently trading at.
Wait, quick question. You would wait for it to break a little lower before you would take a sell into that for it to go down to that area, right?
All right, not bad.
Scrolls.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me now?
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So what were you saying?
Hello?
What were you saying?
Oh yeah, I was saying you would wait for it to break a little lower, but under that support right there, and then take it to that next zone before you get in for the sell, because right now it's too risky, right?
The only reason I wouldn't take a sell right now is because of my stop loss placement. So if I were to look to short here, my stop loss would have to go up here. My take profit would be here, which I'd barely be scraping 2 times my risk, which at that point in time, I'd rather wait for price to actually break this support level where I'll look for a retest on this intraday structure and then look for price to come down into this area of resistance. So I can lower my stop loss size. So if I enter a short position, I could probably do stop loss maybe that's like this big, take profit that's that big, where I could look to gain maybe like 3 times my risk, something along those lines. Or what I could do is just simply wait for price to come back into the area, wait for resistance to form here, and look for price to actually go short into 23. I'm going to be waiting for one of those two things. Looking at the buys side of things, I wouldn't really look to buy silver again unless price breaks above. Or if price does break above, retest and then rejection up into 25 roughly. Let's see that 24. What is this? Yeah, 24.70 thousand. That's what I'm gonna be looking for on silver. So anybody have any questions with silver before I move on to probably gold or GJ? All right, cool. So now when it came down to gold, I ended up just closing my buy position. My take profit got hit right here. So breaking down the buys again, for those of you who probably missed that webinar, when it came down to me buying gold, 1830 has been a level I've been paying attention to for quite some time. As you guys could see, there's resistance all throughout 1830. Now with this bullish candlestick over here, this was a nice bullish candlestick where there was a lot of bullish momentum to the candlestick, and this bearish candlestick over here was the confirmed break of this 1830 level. Price came all the way up until about 1845, 1838. Let's leave it before it actually started to pull back. So it pushed 80 pips above the original 1830 level of resistance, where all you simply have to wait for again, right? Did I freeze again?
I can't.
Audio scoring.
Froze. Yeah. Repeat that because I tell a little.
All right. So basically, what I was saying is the idea is all roughly.
No, we can't hear you, bro. Yeah, we can.
We can hear you.
Can you hear me now? Or no? Hello?
Bro, it's still cutting out, bro. Yeah, can you hear now?
All right. Can you hear me now, or is it still like choppy?
Good. Yeah, everything good. Good.
Y'all better know how to speak Spanish if you go to Miami. I went to Miami. Dude walked in one ball.
All right, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
We can hear you, bro.
I really don't know why my Wi-Fi is so bad, right? But like I was saying, right, let's continue the breakdown here. Like I was saying, so when it comes down to gold, right, once it broke 1830, or you could take this ideology of the break and retest setup really to any currency pair or any asset that you're going to be trading, right? All you simply have to wait for your previous level of resistance is to see if there's going to be buying pressure at that area. Now, when you go down to a 4-hour time frame, right, what you could see here is a big rejection with this 4-hour candle, another rejection here, another rejection here, and another rejection here. There's not enough detail on this 4-hour time frame to take a trade. So what we have to do is use multiple time frame analysis. So going down to the hour time frame and seeing what that structure looks there. Notice the rejection, clean rejection here. This is where I took my entry after this bullish pin bar. At that point in time, stop loss goes under the low, and then take profit. My initial take profit was going to be the next level of resistance, which was 1850, but I did have a take profit in this area too, where I had made the decision to just close, I believe it was 30% of my position at this area just to secure something. And then I let the rest of the position actually run up to 1850, where I had closed out the rest of the trade there. And again, 1850 was the next level of resistance that I was going to be waiting at. So, or targeting. So we could actually see selling pressure at this area. It does look like already that there is starting to be some rejection. I would like to see how the next 4-hour candlestick forms along with this 4-hour candlestick. If we go to the daily time frame, what we could see as well is that there is starting to be some rejection again. So price definitely has the possibility of coming back down into 1830 for a little bit more of a steeper pullback. Unless price obviously breaks, then we wait for the retest of 1850 and look to take price up to 1870 here. So gold is going to be a little bit tricky. I'll probably look to short as long as I start to see some more rejection here. Definitely, if price closes and breaks under this hour level, we'll see gold continue to trade lower from that point in time. So any questions on gold before I move on to GJ?
Yeah. After the entry you took, there is another pin bar rejecting the 50 SMA. After the entry you took.
I think it's been in the last retest that I did yesterday.
Right. No, I mean, yeah. No.
That's all right.
Keep going forward.
Here.
That's right.
Yeah. Do you think it's a good trade?
I mean, what would you determine if it would be a good trade?
Like there is a level of supply and demand there, and there is like it's rejecting the 50 SMA, and the pin bar like is bullish sign.
It's a very minor level of support. What's more important, this area here or this area over here?
Or the other one, I guess.
And on top of that, like the thing is, you're in a range taking a trade here. So there's definitely way more risk for you to take a trade up here in this position or in this price range versus taking a trade down at your major areas. So you always want to focus on taking a trade at your major areas. I personally don't think I would have taken a position here, even though you definitely could have. You just have to identify the risk on that position. But again, you want to get in as close to your major areas as best as you possibly can, so you don't have to look to get in, in this area here or look to break and retest this area over here either. The goal is to get in as close as possible to your more major zones, so you can avoid, getting trapped in this consolidation, because you could look left, right, and see the break and retest right here as well, but you would have been trapped in this move. In this area, this situation, price would have gone up in your favor right away, but that's not always the case. Again, like you want to get in as close to your major levels as much as possible. The only time I ever saw drawdown was holding my position through this pullback here, which is something I did state in the last webinar. Gold could definitely go up and then pull back into this area for session, retest that area before continuing to go up to my target, which it literally did exactly that. And I knew that that was a possibility. That's why my stop loss is set under the lowest wicks here, just to play it a little bit safe. But even though I had a pretty decent sized stop, I mean, it's not too bad. A 50 pip stop on gold isn't much. I was still able to squeeze out 3.6 times my risk. Where let's say if you would have made an entry point here, right, and even if your target would have been 1850 and your stop loss would have been under this low right here, right, you're barely even squeezing 2 times your risk, and you have the same stop loss size. So look at the importance of literally having this roughly the same stop loss size, but I'm getting in at a better level, right? I'm able to squeeze an extra 1.5 times my risk versus over here, you're only getting a 1.9 risk to reward ratio. Getting in on an entry at this area here, which again is a very high risk area, simply because gold can come back down and test this area, bounce off this area again, and then continue to go back up. So personally, I wouldn't have taken a position there. You just want to try and focus on your more important levels as best as you possibly can and trade in between those bigger levels, so you can kind of clean up the quality of the trades that you're taking. Does that make sense?
Yeah, bro. Thank you.
Yeah. Cool.
Yo, bro, I got a question.
Yeah.
This might be kind of like a stupid question, but I'm just asking. Like for you, for example, like on a major zone, like for you to how many rejections, besides like a confirmation or anything, but how many rejections would you have to see like on a candle base, maybe like 4 hour or daily, for you to be like, okay, you know what, price is gonna reject, or how many confirmations of candle, or would you consider be like, okay, this is like obviously after a certain amount of rejection, you're kind of already gonna have in mind, okay, you know what, if price is rejecting this major zone, is inverse. But for you, like when you about to get into a trade or something, how many rejections, or besides the confirmation, what would you kind of look for? You know, okay, you know what, I'm gonna take this trade.
If I'm going to take an aggressive position, right, then I'll just look for one rejection. So I would have taken a position like maybe somewhere in this area here. But I typically always like to wait for 2 rejections. 2 rejections is like a sweet spot for me to take a position.
All right, man. Yeah, that was my kind of question, because kind of like that's kind of what I kind of be kind of struggling, kind of just knowing how many rejections, because you know it kind of rejects. Or do like some stupid stop hunt or some bullshit like that. But it's kind of just how many rejections would you see, or would you like, okay, well, I like it like this, or I like this rejection that it's giving me. But thank you though.
Yeah. So like when I see 1 rejection, I know it's a little bit high. It's definitely way riskier than waiting for like 2 or 3 rejections. So I'll just use a smaller position size.
It's froze again.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Frozen.
Yeah, you got frozen.
All right. So yeah, like I was saying, I would have just used a smaller position size if I would have taken a trade off of 1 rejection. If I would see like 2 or 3 rejections, I'll probably go a little bit heavier, just because I have more confirmation and a higher probability for price to go in my favor.
All right, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate it for the help.
Yeah, no problem.
Will you ever take trades off of the SMA rejection, or do you just use it as a confluence?
I just use it as a confluence.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I always look for the levels of supply and demand or support and resistance.
Some of the SMA rejections are lovely, man, and it's so tempting to take them some of the time.
I mean, ultimately, it's up to you. You know, if you want to take that trade or not, you could. But again, ultimately, it's up to you.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Question, Ro, that horizontal line at 1850, is that your daily rejection?
This is a level on the daily and the 4 hour time frame right here, 1850.
Gotcha. I figured. I just wanted to confirm. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ro, would you think that 1844 level would be a good buy if it starts rejecting it?
The thing is, like,
because I'm looking, if you look there at where you have your cursor at, I'm looking kind of something similar on the 4 hour. If you kind of look at the 4 hour, kind of something like that, how it did. If you go back to the where you were.
Like we're talking about it right here?
Yeah, like that, yeah.
I think 1830 would be a better buy. Just because if price rejects 1850, I wouldn't be interested in buying unless price goes to 1830 again. You could look to buy at 1844, which is this area here. But then again, you'd be rejecting 1850. And then if price rejects 1850, has a probability of going to 1830, which is another bigger area.
Okay, I got you.
The best thing is to wait for the next daily candle.
What happened?
The best thing to do is wait for the next daily candle to see the rejection.
If price is at 1844 already, then it could be forming a bearish engulfing on the daily and a rejection off of 1850. I would look for price to continue to go down after that. Like if you look at 1850, like this is a pretty big level. Like just look at where my cursor is. There's support here. There's resistance over here on this side, more support here, and then you have support over here. So, we could see another retest of 1830. It depends. Again, like if price starts trading under this area, it'll continue to go down.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Bro.
Yeah.
So if it starts trading under that area, is that a break in structure? Even though the higher low is kind of like...
It would be, well, you got to keep in mind, your main structure points here on this 4-hour time frame is going to be this point, this point, this point, this point, this point, and then it's now this point probably here. So your higher low point is way over here, right?
Right.
Price all the way down here and go back up, no problem.
So you're just basically anticipating the down. You're gonna sell it because we're at a resistance level.
Potentially, yeah.
Okay.
Unless price makes a sporadic move above, right? Then I'd probably continue.
Okay. So it's still in bullish. It's still like bullish structure for you as well. It just.
I know structure is still bullish, right?
Okay.
But the fact that on the daily time frame there's a significant loss of momentum here, right? We have resistance here now, or we have support here. Now price is holding as resistance off of a previous level of support. If you go down to the 4-hour time frame, you could see the significance of this level here as well. We have support, and then look at the reaction. Once price rejected 1850, went all the way up to 1870. But again, price could do something like it did over here, right? So I'd want to see price give me a better rejection and a better sell confirmation, like starting to break under this support level over here, where I'll then look to take a sell, because at the end of the day, price is still bullish, and I know sells will be pretty risky. So I'd want to wait for the break of this area where I may look to actually sell. But what looks like a better sell setup is silver. So I may not even trade gold, and I might just trade this silver short setup, where I'll look for silver to come back down into these weekly highs over here.
Yeah, especially since it's already in like that bearish structure.
Exactly. Like if price breaks above this area, then we're going to be looking for buys regardless. So all we have to wait for is either a break and retest to sell on this support level, or we wait for a rejection here to sell. And if price breaks above, it's okay. We change our analysis. We look to buy. So it's points like these where, I see a cleaner setup on silver. I'll completely avoid gold and just focus on this silver setup.
Yo.
What's up, bro?
I got here late, bro. Can you break down the GU daily and 4-hour trend?
I mean, I haven't even traded this. Like, it just doesn't look too great to me to actually want to trade. So I feel like there's better setups on silver and gold. But I mean, it just comes down to identifying structure, seeing an impulse, seeing a pullback. We know that we could possibly see another impulse to the upside here on the daily time frame. But if we go down to the 4-hour time frame, what we see is price making lower lows and lower highs. So for me to want to actually take, GU buys, I'd like to see maybe some form of a double bottom here, a break, retest, a 3-leg extension where you have 1, 2, 3 legs, and look for another leg to move up here. So, I mean, when it comes down to GU, That's what I would want to see, something like this. Or I'll start looking to buy in this area. Let's just, if that's where GU starts actually pull back. Because GU, when we talked about before, is that we could see GU actually come back into this range to potentially form like this inverted head and shoulders or inverted head and shoulders pattern where here you have shoulder, head, and now it looks like it's forming another shoulder, right? It looks pretty clean. So the thing is, if we're going to see GU buys, it's most likely going to be next week. Not going to be this week because this candlestick needs to close. And the next weekly candle will be like a bullish engulfing candle, and the following will continue.
Okay. Sounds good. Can you break down GJ now?
GJ, I'm a little not skeptical, but I'm a little uncertain on what I can see. Because at the same time, like if we look at GJ on the weekly time frame, we see price rejecting this 20 SMA. This weekly candlestick so far is very weak. It's definitely pulling back. But if we look at it, it's pulling back to a level of previous structure where there is resistance. So we break it down now to a daily time frame. What we can see is that right now, price is actually broken under this support range here, this resistance. So price could definitely hold this resistance, but this rejection of the downside here is a little bit concerning for me to actually want to take a sell. It looks a lot better on this 4-hour time frame, which gives me the confidence to want to continue to sell. So the fact that price rejected resistance 1, 2, 3, and if this candlestick engulfs, then that'll be my entry signal. Where I'll then look to take maybe take profit somewhere down there in this range over here. We look at the hour time frame, we can see price rejecting structure quite nicely. So if price breaks under this area, then we could see price travel down to this support range over here at 153.200. But I'd want to see that bearish engulfing first before I actually look to take a short position down here.
Okay. All right. Clean. Appreciate you, bro.
Cool.
Hey, Earl, I got a quick question. So go back to silver.
Silver. Here we go.
Okay. So question is like, what do you ask yourself before putting down support and resistance? Because right now I have a completely different setup from you because I have a
That's fine, bro. You gotta understand, like, we all have different perspectives on things, right? What has to stay the same is that we all know 2 + 2 = 4. But when it comes down to pattern recognition, we all have completely different eyes. We all have different brains. So it doesn't matter all too much if we have different support and resistance levels. But when it comes to identifying, your major levels, if I mark off a chart that looks like this, right? Just random as fuck, right? I could say, okay, well, we have this area up here. We have this one right here. We have another one right about here. While another person says, okay, well, let's make actually this one, let's make them red. Another person will say, well, we have this one right here. We have this one here. We have this one down here. It's all going to be different. As long as the general concept is the same, where you can actually see that, hey, there was a big reaction in the opposite direction once price bounced off of 1472,000. And then later on in the future, at a big rejection the opposite way, we're actually went bullish, right? The concept is really all the same. As long as you can identify those major rejections, then you can mark off your support and resistance levels fairly easily, I want to say.
So basically, from what I got there is you basically write down your structure based on how big the candle moved from that area.
Yeah, not the candle itself, but the reaction you get from.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks, bro.
Yeah, basically.
Yo, Raul, quick question.
Good, bro.
Is there any correlation between GJ and GU? I mean, if GJ is bullish, GU is bullish too? Or can...
When it comes down to like correlating pairs, you got to remember like GBP USD, GBP JPY both have the same base currency, which is the Great Britain pound, but they have different quote currencies, being the USD and the Japanese yen. So I would treat each pair as its own individual. As you could see, like if we go to GU had a big move to the downside. You go to GJ also had a big move to the downside. But at the end of the day, GJ again is GBP, JPY, and GBP USD. So I wouldn't try and correlate them because that's just going to kind of mess with your trading psychology. Just treat each pair as its own, like as if it were to be an individual. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I see buying pressure in GU, but selling pressure at GJ. So I mean, I think it would be opposite. I don't know if you understand me.
Can you repeat that? I don't really.
So I was estaba viendo. I was looking at the GU
Okay.
has buying pressure. Okay, but in the GJ,
okay.
I was looking bullish, bearish pressure. So I thought that is opposite pairs.
I mean, again, it comes down to like each pair is going to move differently because no pair is going to have the same base and quote currency. Some pairs might have the same base currency, some pairs might have the same quote currency, where you may see pairs move very similarly, but they're going to be different. Like if there's very strong news for the USD, right? You're going to see the USD skyrocket, and any pair that has the USD as either the quote currency, you're going to see that pair either go up or down in the same manner, but it doesn't mean that they're going to move very similarly. And it doesn't mean that they're going to always be moving the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I understood. Thank you so much.
Yeah. But yeah, just try and treat each pair as its own individual.
Sorry for my bad English, man, but I can understand you.
No problem, bro. No problem.
So I had a question on gold again.
Yeah.
Like you said, if it rejects that daily and 4-hour zone, you think it goes past the support level at 1844 to go test the major lows at 1830, right?
I believe so. Yeah. If price rejects 1850, which the signs are looking like it will, then I would simply wait for price to go down into 1830, where I'll look to buy again if we see buying pressure. Because right now there is selling pressure at 1830, and I wouldn't be at 1850. There's selling pressure, and I wouldn't be too. What would the word be? I wouldn't be too. Is the word fun? I wouldn't look to buy in an area where there's selling pressure, basically, and especially that there's previous support established, and now we're sitting selling pressure at that previous level of support. It shows that resistance is holding, and it just shows that there's a possibility for price to continue to actually go down. Well, in this situation, rejecting go the opposite direction.
Because my problem is everything on the higher time frames are correct for me as far as the fib. It bounced off the the 0.5 3 times, came up and hit the negative 27 just about, but I get caught up on the lower time frames. So everything on the higher from the hour and up, I can see the structure, I can see the higher highs, higher lows, but then what messes me up, I don't know, is the smaller time frames. So that's something.
Yeah, because the smaller time frames, there's going to be way more noise. Obviously, that's part of trading the smaller time frames. Whenever you start getting confused or anything, just bump it back up to the higher time frame to get a clear understanding of the direction of price.
Okay.
Or maybe just go up a time frame. Like if you're getting confused on like a 30-minute time frame, then just go to the hour time frame. That's why I generally tend to stick away from like a 15 or 5-minute nowadays. I just focus on the 30-minute and above. But as long as you have, again, like a clear understanding of the higher time frames, the hour, the 4-hour, or the daily, and the direction of those time frames, then you should be good to go.
Okay. Can you go down to the 15 or 30 minute to where you've seen that double bottom and that rejection?
Oh, that was on the hour and the 30-minute.
Oh, on the hour. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're right there. That candle that you just pointed out right now, isn't that there is a lot of force upside. a lot of rejection from that area. But doesn't that count as a weak candlestick or no?
Well, why would you count it as a weak candlestick?
No, I was just asking.
No, yeah, no. I want
the body is smaller.
The body is smaller, but
it has the
close.
Okay.
Notice how it closed? It was in the top third of the open to the highest high.
Correct.
And also notice how big this rejection to the downside is. Right? So again, you have to think about it as like a tug of war battle, right? If let's call team bears, right? If the bears team at one point in time at the beginning of the session was winning the tug of war, and look at the size of this candlestick, what would have been, right? You're telling me by the end of this hour close, it pulled all the way back up past the open and closed within the top third of this highest high right here. Typically, that's a sign of weak bears and strong bulls.
Correct.
So this is where I took my buy position, literally right once that candlestick actually closed. Why? Because it showed that it rejected the lows and we closed back above support.
Okay.
And then at that point in time, that's where I had made my buy position. That's, again, a very strong bullish candlestick.
But
That was at like outside of session times. Were you just expecting that move to happen and then you just watched and waited?
Basically, so if you watched the last webinar, one thing that I had stated was, yes, I took this trade outside of session pretty much like 3-4 p.m. right when the market was about to close. I took the trade because, again, like when it comes down to the session and when we're looking for like these big intraday moves, it's not going to typically happen within the same trading session. Like we don't see moves like this on gold every single day where price flies 300 pips in the span of only a few hours. And even this move took quite some time. This move took 12 hours. We don't typically see that, right? But when it comes down to your trading setup, that's more important to me than the trading session, because I know the trading session is just going to push price in my favor, especially after seeing 2 rejections here, all of this rejections over here, and then this big rejection here. That was my entry signal. I knew I was going to get stuck over the weekend. I knew I was probably going to get swap fees and higher commission and everything else. But ultimately, the end goal is the same. My target is up here, right? So pretty much when price, or Sunday when price came back up, once price started trading in this area here,